Can we take back? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we got roof, guys. I think we got roof.
Okay. I'm dropping it, don't queue me.
Okay. Yeah, what the roof?
We're good. Okay, let's go. On the roof.
We're gonna
Go. Catch one. Watson.
1-1.
Get inside, careful.
David has the stairs.
On me.
I cannot.
Stairs.
I cannot.
It's only one guy.
No, it's two.
Two now. Good on.
After getting the scan, seeing 3 teams and trying to get on top of the roof to go down from Alliance, but Effect is keeping the dream alive right now while he heals up in front of the door. Cybercats, another team in trouble, Gino.
Yeah, 07 went down there as well. I mean, there was like it felt like a millisecond window that they had, honestly, to hit that gravity lift and get up there and take control of the top of the building, and they didn't quite manage to hit it. They'd taken a little bit too much damage. Cybercats, however, going through the dimensional rift. We haven't seen that on World's Edge in quite some time. Certainly not a lot of it lately. Okay, they're actually going for the tower. We talked about how important that is recently, and as this zone closes, that is pretty much the time to take it. Not many teams after this zone closes will have sight lines on you.
What year is it? Wraith coming into Pro League? You love to see it. Well, Effect is still fighting for his life. Love the Arctistar placement, but these crypto drones have been pesky. He managed to take out one, but there's still another on the other side. He still gets pinged by the EMP. Nowhere to go or hide. Alliance get taken out, but this is where the chaos is all going to go down. This is where the lobby is going to whittle down, exiting out of Skyhook for the teams that are by that sniper tower, like you mentioned.
Okay, stay healthy. Oh, that was a risky res. Other teams here move in for the kill, and Full English seems to be the team that might actually stay alive and make it from the bottom side here. Only the 2 of them left alive. Brennan Noises. 2 on 1. Passion have been grouping up on the north side of this. Meanwhile, Team Portugal, as we mentioned earlier, taking control of the RV and very happily sitting in there for now.
We're able to also clean up some kills from the squads that were exiting out of the train tracks, stuck outside the circle. Looking at Cybercats, who have taken the high ground. Yes, they lose out on Illusion, who, by the way, on the Mad Maggie. This is a team that is running both Wraith and the Mad Maggie. It's going to be interesting to watch here, but the Wraith may come in clutch at the very end here, but specifically looking at the Caustic with that Nox grenade. You can see here the perks that he's also taking advantage of, but with these Caustic traps, he can also take advantage of trying to peek right through there without giving up too much cover.
There they go out. Yeah, the second perk, the level 3 perk they've got there with the extra vision, keeps people in your sights for a little bit longer, is definitely the one that the Caustics have been gravitating towards.
Look over to the side, he manages to get away, but that was right before. He didn't notice that there was another player right next to him. The Caustic gets the knock noises, gets fully sent on Full English, get annihilated. That was all from 0-0, who immediately pushed off of that Nox grenade. You can see he did use it there, but at the very end, this is where it's going to be even more important, as Cybercats are forced to drop down right on top of, I believe, 2 rounds of controller. Uchaku, he gets the final blow, though, with that melee. Now Ranches is forced to get away. He gets right into the phase. Can he find some cover, though, to at least reset right into the line of sight of Fuda, who cleans up Cybercats, our last 3 squads here on the field.
Okay, Team Portugal, they're going to send 2 R1 Passion. They can come in off the back of this. It should be an easy cleanup for them. Passion, take it from the rock.
Passion, the bread and butter, come out on top, and with a pretty difficult rotation too. You have to imagine exiting out of that Skyhook area was no easy task, especially with the 2 to 3 EMPs that we saw being unleashed at the very end of that lobby.
It was a really cool finish there. The team on the tower doesn't end up winning it. They get pushed out first. that rock is quite a strong position in that final circle, and we saw Passion, you know, deciding to go that way, rotate. They had to kill, it was one of the other teams that was sitting there, I think it was maybe full English, and once they'd done that, all of a sudden it looked like the game was in their hands, because 2R1C and Team Portugal kind of locked into in a battle in their death throes there, and I think Portugal realized they probably had to play for second place, so you know, at least recognizing that.
What's also nice to see is that 0-0 at the very end, we got to catch him, cleaning up what two squads, what was remained of the two squads that we saw of them, and he was able to get 4 KP alone. I did notice that his other 2 teammates were also able to get KP, so with that dub on top of potentially 6 KP total, that's going to be a nice first game to have in the pocket, and that is also considering the rotation from staging to make it into that final circle on the outskirts of Skyhood. So really good game right there for Passion.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, we also away with a few obviously going to help you on the standings. I'm sure we'll get to that later, but yeah, that's an amazing first win for them.
Taking a look at the match results, Passion coming in first place with 7 kills, but 2 rats, 1 controller with 11 KP that game. Sheesh. They really came in from Geyser. I mean, we saw them fighting very early when we got to see the 50 absolutely overlook, and then what happened to a big mod right in the it looks like for the entire rest of the game on their trip over to Skyhook, so that was a pretty big game for them too. Even looking all the way down to Cybercats, who unfortunately denied themselves that KP after they were sitting in Grandma's house for the majority of that game, actually babysitting that beacon. Full English was 7 KP too, but a good amount of KP for a lot of our top 10 squads here, Gino.
Indeed, I mean, it's interesting that Cybercats, you know, picked up the place with kills at all, but then if you move a little further down, you've got 07, you know, posted earlier on, with Datsky going down early, but look, 6 points is still nothing to laugh at there, so they're doing okay.
It's actually crazy, even looking all the way down to E6, we're talking about the fact that they need to keep this up if they want to stay within contention of our top 10 teams, but looking at our top 3 teams after game number 1, Passion takes that dub. You can see 7 KP out here with over 3,000 damage, with 2 rats with controller in that 3rd place spot with 5,000 damage, 11 total kills, 17 assists. They were absolutely frying in battle with being put into crypto bang. I mean, the flexibility that we're seeing from all our teams, even Team Portugal. I love how Kashera post DQ actually going in for a comp that I believe Kashera found so much success on previously, still sticking to the crypto, the Watson, and the Valkyrie, where you could play for end circle, kind of stay posted up wherever you want to be, and then see if you can find the KP that you need from any of the rotating spots while being in the best spot that you could possibly be in wherever you predict that circle is going to be pulling. But amazing first game that we got to watch. Circle going all the way up north to Skyhook. We're going to have to see how game number 2 plays out on the other side of this break. You don't want to miss it.
also obviously picking up a few as well. But yeah, there was a reasonable spread of kills across the board for our EMEA teams in game one.
I mean, not only that, but something that we can touch on, because I think we've got a little bit of time here too, is the fact that we talked about it yesterday when we saw what we were getting for that Legend comp coming in now. First games in the new season, in the new meta. And now we get to another day of EMEA, and we saw even more variety coming in. We saw more Wraiths this time around. We saw more Cryptos this time around. We even saw a Mad Maggie on Cybercats. I mean, EMEA is trying everything here.
It's fun to see the variety, isn't it? I mean, everyone has their flavor right now. I'm a little sad, you know, we didn't get the vision of the lifeline pulling down the care pack, if that's
Yes.
she managed to get that out towards the end. But yeah, there's just so many possibilities in this new season that it's been fascinating to see which skill trees these pros are going down, because it's not settled yet, right? I think there's some like say Bangalore, where you are seeing them pretty much go you know, ultimate cooldown, and then the one that spots out enemies pretty much every time. But some other times, like, you know, Caustic or Bloodhound, you are seeing a bit of variety in what the teams choose.
Yeah, it's really adding to the overall strategy when it comes to this game. What ways they want to go in those perk trees based off of their play styles, or as a team or as an individual, and it's making for some really interesting gameplay here. Another thing that I want to talk about, I mean, I love that you mentioned the lifeline, but we had also seen this yesterday, was the importance of that pathing, trying to get your evos leveled up, right? Are you going for those evo harvesters? Are you able to get enough of the other ways to boost your evo, whether it is those beacon scans, if it's those bins, those extra bins you're able to get, if you're able to spot some things out. Element 6 is in an area where that should be super top tier for them. We're obviously going back to World's Edge for match number 2, Passion coming out on top of match number 1. But any of the teams that we saw yesterday, whether that was in EMEA or NA, that were near the Trials area, the additional 250 you're getting out of completing Trials and then making your rotation anywhere else on the map sets you up really well. So I know they went out early in match number 1, but I think there's someone that I'm keeping my eyes on this time around to see if they can kind of bounce back from that and really recover, and then utilize their positioning well to be one of those first teams in the lobby genome that ends up on ramp.
Yeah, definitely Trials has a great opportunity to do that. And, you know, not only red armor, but all the gold sort of attachments and, or, you know, I guess equipment that you get with that from finishing Trials. We'll have a look at how the Legend picks shake out again this time. Wasn't a misclick, we are getting another lifeline coming out of 2R1C. I mean, the other thing to point out, I guess, from some of these compositions that are doing well, like, say, full English there with Watson, Valkyrie, Crypto, is, you know, I feel like they really are relying on their gun skill a lot, honestly. Like, there's so much utility in that composition with Crypto, Watson, and Valkyrie. You're really not trying to bully other teams with your abilities. You can do it a little bit with the EMP, but mostly it's just trying to sort of, you know, help your rotations, help your macro. I think it's a very macro-focused comp.
Yeah, and I love that we're starting to see more people using it as well, especially with the option on the Crypto side of things to make your EMP that much bigger end game and really kind of disrupt what can happen for some of those teams has proven to be quite useful. As we are back up checking in with this overlook contest. LPVECH trying to stay alive on the
Scans coming out. Evo Harvester in a very similar position to last time, but I don't think it will be as much of an issue because both of the teams are clustered up. They were, you know, sort of taking their time last time, but this time you see them pulling straight up onto each other.
Looks like they don't want to take their time this time around. I mean, nice shot coming out, looking with that Prowler here, trying to see if he can do any bit of damage. Only one down at LVH still. They're actually holding their ground really solidly here, making an aggressive push into the building. The smoke ends up blocking a lot of this vision. LVH now down to 1. Able to clean up Aftermath, though, and that was worth all of the expenditure in the long run, because now, like you mentioned, they also have that Evo Harvester right behind them. They'll get a reset here.
definitely helps with that early on. It also means they're not going to get thirded by pest control this time because they got it over and done with nice and quickly. That said, they don't have super great priority to the ring, which, you know, just by happenstance, we'll be pulling a roundabouts here, maybe probably a little bit down south to Harvester. But ExoClan sitting here in Landslide will be safer for a little while. There's that ring vision. So more likely to pull south of the Vault Tunnel there and pull on top of Cybercats and Passion. Starting over at staging, you know, they managed to convert up north last time, but this circle is even more favorable for them.
Definitely, you can see that they're going to be trying to find a nice position early here to hold down. But Cybercats, a team that also did well, at least getting into one of those top 5, I think, finishes in the first match. And they were someone we wanted to keep our eyes on because they were running the Maggie, but Alonzi was down. It was just the 2 of them alive on the top of that tower towards the end of the game. We might get an opportunity to see what they're hoping Maggie brings to the table here for this trio. Since they don't have to do too much moving here, they can kind of hold down and Harvester and at least just defend off anyone who's going to be pushing in, because we did see Orgless and Hungry starting to make a move towards that direction.
Yep, more and more teams will be pulling up to Harvester nice and soon. Even ExoClan, we said they're making their way through staging at the moment. We do have a survey beacon in Harvester. I just mentioned that because we have so many crypto teams, right? So when you decide to hit that survey beacon could be crucial. You know, do you hit it after the Zone 3 reveal, the Zone 4 reveal? Because, you know, the later you hit it, the more certain you can be about what spots are open as that zone changes, and as it, because no one's going to be able to predict this exactly, right? They don't, like, it could go to anywhere around Harvester, essentially.
Well, you're talking about that survey beacon. Looks like Orgless and Hungry decides that they want to push in, get some damage on the board. Wonderful job clearing out the entire edge of this building, drawing a little bit of attention their way, but also clearing out that space. They now have access to that additional potential Evo boost. Full English pushing into finding themselves in a really rough spot, down to just noises now. He's going to try and clean up, see if he can crack some shields behind that. Jenny and is actually doing very well.
Oh my god, he actually gets the clean up onto 40% worse. Let's go. EMP to lock them down and want to finish them off. But yeah, look, how much respite is he going to get? Not very much.
We cut him some slack. That was an insane clutch on behalf of Noises, but Full English they want this entire Harvester to at least be safe for them for now. More loot on the table as well, so huge play thirding there for Cybercats. We now have what's going on with inside of this tunnel. They are sandwiched right now between 2 different teams, 1 on each end. This is a rough spot. They're going to have to pick who they want to push first if they don't want to have this turn into an absolute massacre.
Well, I feel like there's always one of those happening somewhere around the map in Apex. It's kind of just how the game works, right? You know, there's always going to be some hot spots, but I like playing up there. I mean, you can see it's not an easy spot to climb up to, right? Like they're trying to get there. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you've got a Horizon, something like that. But it is quite a powerful spot because you really can, you know, determine your peaks if you're playing from that high ground.
Got your squad here, Genome. Checking in on Alliance as they're making their way on a little bit safer rotation outside of where a lot of these teams have moved into. I think they have one team in their path right now, which should be Passion, that they're keeping their eyes on, seeing what's going on. But right now, they're safe coming out of Thermal. They don't have to have, they actually don't have too many people in their way, so they can kind of play this as slowly as they want to.
Not a bad spot at all, I agree. You know, it's a good spot for gatekeeping. You know, there were 2 Evo Harvesters actually down on the side of Thermal Station, so hey, why not just take your time and really build those shields up, and then you can work your way in a little bit later. Actually, they might have even hit 3 by now, so yeah, like without even having to put that much damage out. That's a good start to the shield Evo collection game that we now play in Apex.
A little scouting action going on here with that drone. So we get a chance to look back at the map. And this is what I'm talking about. Look how open that western edge of where lines had to come through is nobody was there. They've got a pretty safe push in, but now some of those teams on those later rotates could potentially find themselves in the crosshairs of Alliance, but they're pretty safe for now. E6 still up and alive, Infinite right in front of them, could find themselves on a little bit of an edge engagement there, but 2R1C, one of the teams that had the highest slaying in match number 1, is finding themselves comfortable, far away from everybody else. Oh, so we get an opportunity to see what E6 is going to do with their position.
Yeah, they're a late rotate in. I mean, this circle could even pull back to staging now. That little shift that we've seen. So a team like ANC outplayed, who's currently in command center within staging, I mean, that'd be massive for them if we saw that. And Element 6, depending on how they decide to approach this, could also benefit from such a shift. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. The spot 07 we're holding in front of the loot tunnel also could become quite strong.
You can see just how comfortable E6 is with their shields right now. PH, though, making their way through this choke, will find themselves in the crosshairs of E6, and they know that there is a potential for somebody to be through there as well, so they're playing this a little bit safer. They've got time, they're still safe inside of the zone right now, so they can kind of choose which way they want to make this rotation. Sure, they've got the shield, but I'm really surprised that after that initial scuffle over in Overlook that they haven't been able to pick up a little more loot on the way, considering how long it took them to get here. I think it really shows what the teams are currently focusing on when it comes to their pathing and what they're trying to pick up along the way. Meanwhile, you've got Orgus and Hungry in here.
I knew we were going to say this, right?
An armor party.
With all those cryptos in the lobby, you're going to see a lot of armors dropped on the floor here, right? And unless they've changed this recently, last time I checked, it's, you need the armor down on the ground for 10 seconds before it becomes immune to a crypto's EMP. So with that many cryptos in the lobby, you can drop it instantly and it'll deny the crypto damage, but you still have to use your short cells and your resources to get it back up. 10 seconds, and you can the EMP completely.
Red Dragon hitting that Evo Harvester, getting themselves up to purple now, preparing for the next wave of potential engagements here. You know, when we first had this new meta, I was kind of hoping that with the way the Evo Harvesters were working, if a team ran across one really early on, or even mid-game and knew that they were going up against someone that they had a shield advantage, we'd see more fights. If anything, everyone's getting a lot more conservative until they feel like they're at a good shield spot to even take those engagements.
Yeah, I think that's fair, right? Because I think you're seeing lower shields across the board in the mid-game, and maybe even into the late game, because by this point, most teams would have purple. They'd poke up, whatever it was. But we're seeing blues much later into the game, because sometimes you just get stuck in a spot where, there's not enough perk bins around. You can't go past enough Evo Harvesters to get you close to purple. And I think that is making people cautious because they feel a little bit vulnerable with only the 175 health overall.
2R1C looking to do a little bit of poke damage there as they push their way through on the eastern edge, looking to get into the next zone. You were wondering where it was going to shift, Genome. It looks like Orgus and Hungry is very comfortable in the next ring.
Damn, yeah, a bit of pinball going on here with our zone. It does go back to Harvester, and as you say, Orgus and Hungry very much on top of it. Survey Bacon still in, so I can see some teams literally using their crypto drones right now to go and ping that survey beacon and consider, what the next move is.
Ooh, potential engagement here coming in on behalf of E6. Let's jump into it, listen in, and see how they want to handle it.
We got middle control. 100. Yeah. That was
for from the back, like I say, please. Don't.
I did earlier. I'm droning myself right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just dropping me from the surface. I'll get now. We played that team already. Good job, boys.
Alright, I mean, that was a successful push there on behalf of E6. I love the comms, Gino.
Yeah, the vibes are high, the vibes are intense at the very least. 2-on-1 seed. The only one left alive now.
Looks like this, they're going down right now to all of the teams that have decided to hold that space here in Harvester. Trying to survive Infinite now, back and forth down to 1 as well, trying to close out this battle here, but the knockdown shield is putting in work, able to finally move around it, red drag and go down. Infinite escape with just 1. Not able to really do a whole lot here. We're gonna see a rat basically we saw yesterday, we end up with like 4 rats and 1 full squad with I don't know if I'm prepared for it, Gino.
Yeah, that was one of the wildest circles I have seen. How that happened, I do not know, but it was a fun one. I'm surprised a lot of people didn't wait there, honestly. So a lot of you can see, when it was desperately trying to finish that fight, because he knew if Alliance pulled up a little bit earlier, they could lose those KP, but they do manage to finish it off. And now, I think Element 6 has actually got confidence, so it could be tough for him to get away. But honestly, most of the action is going to be over here towards Harvester, where we see ExoClan, Passion, well within the circle. Hungry probably have the best position because they're inside that western wing of Harvester and will be able to stick in there right until the end game.
I think it'll be interesting to see if any of those teams that are still a little bit farther into Harvester try to push into Oracle's Hungry and take away that positioning, or at least kind of force them to go through one of the 12,000 armors that people don't know they have currently on the ground around them. But really, really solid positioning. Otherwise, we see a Kraber in the hands of Ranches and connects for 140. Cybercats have just been looking so strong.
Today, looking for that extra shot available to him right now. Can't get the one shot. But yeah, look, Cybercats here. They've got that that little snake of the Harvester all to themselves, but they might be joined by 07 shortly.
ExoClan, one of those teams holding on to this ground area where we saw the action was as well. I mean, they can see everybody down in those snake buildings. They're just trying to be annoying right now, clear out that space down below, throw those frags down, see if they can do some damage and at least maybe get some KP or initiate something. That was a lot of frags to just continue dropping. The double grab lifts over here as Alliance and E6 are battling it out.
Yes, this is on the southern side of this Alliance, trying to get the reset here with the golden knock as Hackers gets finished off. Element 6 going to push into this and try and finish them off, or Alliance going to come out on top. Unlucky with the wingman. I mean, it's always I feel like it's always an honor if your teammate lets you have the wingman. It's such an important piece of utility in this game.
Okay, you can see that they were able to only two. It's a little bit safer now and see if anyone was trying to follow on that engagement. Checking the next circle wasn't hungry. Very comfortable in their portion of the building. Team Portugal is one of those teams that's a little bit higher up, farther in, using those Watson fences to keep themselves in a safe area, but knowing they have to start moving here in just 20 seconds, and they will either have to go through Orgless Hungry inside of the building, or try to make a little bit of a wider push outside to the side and see if they can get a clear space, but that is where Alliance will be hanging out as well, so there's going to be a little bit of chaos that happens.
Yeah. Kashera doing scouting with the drone. This is the time to start looking for those spots. Obviously, one of the massive advantages of having Hack on your side is being able to plan ahead Gashira are one of the best at it. They see that the top is free, and I think that is 100% the right call to play that. Unfortunately, you're still going to have teams, as you can see, on those high grounds above you. Maybe keep moving. An interception pylon here would be enough to save you, but they do take one casualty on the way, and Alliance looking to send them as well, who are back up to the full 3.
They did it right before Team Portugal was even able to get fully settled in this high ground on top of the building, cleared them out. Now they also have this Jenny here that they can kind of utilize to their advantage. They've got these death boxes. This was a massive move for Alliance, especially after the fact that everybody allowed them to get fully reset. They can hold this now for a while.
Oh, in fact, even hitting the headshots here. As you say, having this spot, not only the spot, but getting the gem for free as well. I mean, it's probably pumping out Arcstars for them. Yeah, honestly, an incredible win for them. But the way this circle pulls, Passion and Exo Clan have the high ground up the top. Passion, once again, have found themselves in a really good spot. Actually, they might be on the lower ground.
Oh, this is going to be chaotic as it starts to shrink down and all these teams are forced to move. You see those pings coming out of the use an evac tower to get up here from where they were, so they still that horizon and get themselves. Everyone starts making their moves. They know where some of the squads are. You were wondering where Passion is. It does look like they're on the low ground like you speculated. There's just a lot of Watson fences in the face of Alliance.
Yeah, this is really planned out the top. The drone just he's basically in his own little ops client there, watching the game play out. And Alliance, Alliance are clustering underneath them right now. Of course, with the grab lift, they have a chance to ruin Exo's day.
This should be interesting. Don't forget, we still have Orbis and Hungry inside the building, and they were safe. They'll probably be keeping their sights on Passion as the team is on the low ground with them as well. But there is some potential for either one of those teams to really disrupt what we've got going on. Exo has to be keeping their sights down on Alliance, and everybody else is going to be looking to make a push up as everything is about to kick off. Orbis and Hungry make their move. They push out, but Matafe instantly goes down. Tyler up with no shield and kind of down to 1, taking so much damage from everybody around them. They end up going down. Does not work out in their favor, and 1 still up for Passion.
So what happens now? Do we get a battle of the low ground between Alliance and Passion, or do Alliance try and push up against Exoclan? And EMP to remove all of that Watson utility on the high ground would be a huge move. There's the grab lift.
Oh, Alliance doing a really good job of managing all of this. And Passion went down to 1. They're still a full squad as well. Exo still raining down damage from above, knowing that they can just sit here comfortably until they are forced to make a move. Almost everybody on res, and you can see that, like you said, this is Exo's game to lose.
Oh, they're just fish in a barrel right now. The last members of Passion getting bullied by Exo Clan, who barely even take damage to close out the game.
Great job on the prediction, on the positioning, on behalf of Exo Clan. This was a win that they desperately needed, because when we were looking at those overalls, we saw where they were sitting, but we also did say that we know that they're a squad who can have these big pop-off performances. They just showed exactly what we were talking about, and that's huge for them. They need to have a good day today.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple of teams who are really desperate to, either, try and get closer to that land position that here that you need in EMEA, or try and make it to the top 20. They're the two that I'm really about.
I mean, that was really fun, and there was lots of good decisions and pushes for the zone. That's kind of rough for these teams to play. Alliance did a phenomenal job not only getting themselves to reset back up to a 3, but then playing off of the decisions of the other team. Not, like I said, not letting Team Portugal get settled when they tried to go to the top of the building and claiming that space for a little while. And then they moved early enough to try and find us a position on the high ground, and were able to also clear out, I think there was a Raptor Cybercats over there in the process, but they were just... Exo was doing too good of a job holding them off that, like you said, there was a potential for a grab lift. They couldn't really make any of it work on that side of things. And
was a little surprised the Lions didn't try their luck and essentially kind of played for, you know, second, third place there, because the grab lift was there. They had a chance to pull up. I don't know. Like, it's genuinely a tough one. It's a tough call. As soon as you see that gravity plume, right, like, you know the comms are coming out from ExoClan. They will have their eyes laser focused on that. But that doesn't mean that they're going to lose, right? It's still potentially winnable from a Lions. You know, especially if you're like, well, it's, you know, it's maybe a second place if we play down bottom, but, you know, maybe it's a first place if you take that chance and try and take them out up top.
I'm interested to see what we get now in the final match on World's Edge as these teams. We talked about Team Portugal as well at the top of the show. My team, I'm here saying World's Edge is a match that they are stronger on, and we see them here at least being consistent and satisfying themselves here in a top 6 position. Opportunity to see what happened in the kill department, and it was Captain Alliance that absolutely popped off.
Yeah, look at that. 8 kills for Alliance. Cyber kills. You remember they picked up 0 kills in game 1. They've flipped the script on that one to pick up 13 points here in game 2. Quite the round in their fortunes.
But of course, obviously, ExoClan, our top squad here with 18 points total, so that'll be a very, very good boost for them when it comes to their overall results on the day here as we take a look at the next page. And quite the point sponge going on in the first one, because there are barely any kills to go around for any of these teams.
Yeah, look at that grim bottom half of the leaderboard. Yeah, on the bottom half, that means 50 on the top half of
Really, really solid performance so far on the day for our EMEA teams. But we have so much more Apex Legends action in store. It's only 2 matches on the day. We have 4 more. But of course, it's time for another short break, so don't
Here about the final circles and how they've been able to shift throughout the different seasons. And seeing those Harvester circles usually pulling out outside of Harvester, that hill is the best spot that EXO had gotten.
Yeah, I feel like some of the other directions it can go around Harvester are a little more fair. You know, if it pulls down the sort of the south end, it's a little more flat ground, but the disparity in height between that hill, especially when you've got a character that's able to lock it down like Watson, maybe even Caustic, just made it so easy for EXO to run away with that game.
And even looking at teams remaining consistent at the very least, Passion, who took game number 1 and still staying in the end game for game number 2, staying on top in the overall standings thus far. Can they do it again in our final game of World's Edge, or are they going to falter? Because then we go on to Storm Point for our final 3 games here in EMEA, and seeing some of these teams, they like to shift away from a different sort of composition. So seeing teams that can stay consistent is the key here when it looks at when you're looking at teams like Passion.
Consistency is key. They definitely do say that, Vicky. You know, even just looking at the sort of overall standings for the split in EMEA, I think that's reflected as well, right? There's quite a few teams here who've managed to stay on top, regardless of, you know, the matchups between the groups. I think I actually saw a tweet out before that Element 6 had won the previous 2 matchups of these groups, right? Groups A versus Group B. So it's interesting to see that they're really lagging behind today. It's certainly not how what we come to expect from them in this matchup.
Yeah, that's actually why I brought up E6 before. I mean, at the moment, in the total league standings in EMEA, E6 is sitting in second, where they had a fantastic day 1. Actually, in this lobby, like you mentioned, number 1 plays.
Yep.
But also, I believe it was when they had played the second time in the same lobby, yeah, getting that back-to-backed up. Not too sure with the shift of meta where E6 is maybe lying. Maybe they haven't been able to figure out the legend comps and the different perks being implemented to 620 that have been able to work for them. And speaking of the different perks, I do want to highlight 2 legends that we've been seeing a lot of here in EMEA. One of them being a big throwback for me is Wraith. Seeing Wraith now being played into EMEA, I've saw her a few times yesterday too. Even in NA, I was talking about Disguise. I didn't like how the Wraith and Fuse competition was going for that specific team, but here in EMEA, we're seeing it being utilized a lot more. I mean, you got 5 seconds less on your face cooldown. You have the Sixth Sense, of course, the passive that tells you when other squads are approaching you, but it's that tactical cooldown that you want to look at. Or then you look at the second half for the purple Evo shield perks, you get that fast phase. So you have less startup on your tactical windup, 20% less specifically, or you could always have that portal online to help move your team into a much safer position. It could be a little risky sometimes though, if you don't know where teams are. Let's say you don't have a blood on your team, and you find yourself in a position where you're pinched between 2 Caustic squads, especially with the amount of Caustics that we're seeing in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Wraith, yeah, that ultimate cooldown is definitely the one you want to be picking to, because if you take 60 seconds off her ultimate, basically it means every time the circle comes in, you do have a chance to make that next rotation safely via, and that's a big deal. And I think one of the other trends we've been seeing, Vicky, with these purchases is you can go 2 ways, right? You can go the sort of the team support method, or you can really try and enable you as a character, as a fragger, something like that. And I think, especially with Wraith there, you really want to go the team support method.
Yeah, and then even looking at Mad Maggie and how that could play into whether you want your Wraith to play much more support to help basically navigate your team into a safe spot, or I mean, we're basically highlighting Cybercats here because this is the type of combat they're running. The Mad Maggie. Bringing in Mad Maggie into Season 20 with these perks, you get the auto reload that he has, but it's that wrecking ball and explodes into a big X. So basically opposite what we see with Fuse Motherload, but instead it's that wrecking ball with the big X that could clear so much space and also take care of certain ults that different legends may put down. I know the Newcastle wall is safe. It could try to at least trigger the caustic traps. I know it could immediately tear down, I believe, the rampart walls too, and then adding in the extra pressure that you could be putting onto teams that are stuck in a corner, you have to think about that drill. You could either get the big drill where it makes that drill a lot bigger, or you could get it where you get an extra drill and it's active for way longer. So you could just control so much space with the Mad Maggie in case you find yourself in a pinch. And if you're looking at the certain comp that Cybercats is running, that would come into clutch if you have your portal inside of an area that you don't like to be in, or you need to actually close in the distance with your wrecking ball. The Mad Maggie is right there to help taxi you.
Yeah, control space. That's actually an interesting way to put it, Vicky, because she's almost like the opposite of, say, a Watson or a Rampart, where you're controlling your own space. Mad Maggie is almost like trying to control the enemy's space, right? You're not letting them play behind cover. You're destroying some of those entry points or places that they have to hide behind with the wrecking ball. I think we have seen a lot more players been picking up the bigger drill rather than going for the 2 drills. But yeah, that's just one of those interesting perk choices.
Well, we've been waiting for our legends to load into this lobby. Let's get started, guys. Game number 3 is so close. You can taste it. We still get to see the Bangalores being utilized just as we had seen in the previous seasons, but it's the inclusion of the raids that we highlighted, the Mad Maggie that we saw from Cybercats, Horizon's pick rate actually declining with so much more happening with the Caustic, because if you take that gravity lift into the high ground and you're met with a Caustic, that Notch grenade, especially with the purple perk tree, can just cover so much space that you have to worry about.
It's pretty oppressive at this point, isn't it? And yeah, we also talked about.
The name's Jenny, but you can call me Dr. Jen.
A few caustic picks in the lobby, it kind of spreads, right? It spreads like a virus. It's like so many other teams just they don't want to deal with it. They need their own kind of entry frag of caustic to be able to deal with it, because if you're running into that gas, you are just going to be taking so much damage, and being able to send your own caustic in there who's immune to it makes a big difference.
It's even best when you get to see another 50-50 happening once again. It continues. Abstalisi unfortunately doesn't pick up the weapon in time, landing on top of another enemy. Aftermath now down a man and playing in this 2v3.
40 bullets all up here for the R99. Kura better be accurate with those. And he's, well, okay, there's one clip, and he hits a couple, but it's not looking great here for Aftermath.
Oh, those hipfire shots were not cooking, but Bavis is trying his best with 15 bullets in a dream. Do you call it here, rotate out, you try to fight for what you can after getting the knock? Tries to bait out with the res. His 5's on the other side. Full blue here. Is this 1v1?
Now
but
that
again,
was a good
bullets
deal.
enough.
Trust me. I'm a doctor.
That's not many to go with. Does he need to try and grab? Okay, there's the banner just looking for some extra. You know, his teammates coming, hey, there's at least a couple of shield cells in here. I think that might have been a res we just heard. So come on, you need to push this. You absolutely cannot let him get that off.
Oh, but without the Arcstar there as some extra help, there was no other ammo, I believe, inside of this box. Luigi did not pick up a gun. Tries to take some shots, plays around the crate, tries to slide off. No bullets. He can only duke it out. He can only punch him out at this point. He's doing the same thing, though. He's won. Where can he go?
We've got a boxing match here. And Vive's trying to get the wall jump here just to catch up. Okay, it's down to your mechanics. Can you jump and slide further away? He's going to try and block him off. Takes the time to pick up the Nemesis. I think he's going to finish him off. There we go. Last
That was
bullet.
Huge
Hilarious.
off the gravity lift. I mean, Gino, listen, this is not the fighting game I was expecting from Apex Legends, but I'll absolutely take it with the boxing match. No Pathfinder's Arena here. We create our own arena at Overlook, and LVH with crumbs to work with end up on top, as well as have that ring console before they see where this next ring is going to be pulling, which is all the way towards the northeast, towards Countdown.
Yeah, I mean, still a bit of skyhooking as well, though. So definitely teams can
Thank you so much.
take their chances
Hey, come again.
here on whether they want to pull up into one of the Countdown offices or perhaps occupy one of the Skyhook buildings. Honestly, it might just depend on where your team is coming from and what is available to you.
Pulled on the skirts of Countdown and Skyhook, open by the sitting ducks for the teams to take shots at from Countdown. Looks like 2 Reds, 1 Controller. Had heard of the 50-50 that's been going on for some time, and they want to get involved in since they weren't invited to the party.
Invite came a little bit late to them, but better late than never, you say. I feel like you often see this sometimes in the game 3s or game 6s, right? Where it's like, maybe you don't want to do this right at the start, but you surprise them in the last game on the map.
2 Reds, 1 Controller have the advantage. I mean, this is definitely a squad that we've already highlighted that has no issue bringing the heat. And with the Havoc blaring through this entire lobby, honestly, a weapon that is so strong going into this season with the adjustments and changes with the Digi, not going to be able to be on SMGs, and even adding some more recoil, looking at the R9. 2 Reds, 1 Controller are looking to frag out, especially being still on this lifeline pick. Sends out the Arctis, oppressing the duo that's stuck inside of this building, activated the EMP, but there's nowhere to run when you have them pinched on every corner. LPH are the second squad to get eliminated, and look at this, 2 Reds, 1 Controller having a purple, 2 blues. They're settled up nicely at the start of this game.
But we've another fight over here at the Vault Tunnel here. Alliance with effect here. Actually the first to fall, but the portal to go through.
Looks a little suspicious. I don't know. You're standing on the other side.
So,
Sanka,
what are you
trying to
buying
take a
today?
Glitch here.
And I know you can see 40% versus tags in the background. I can assure you they're nowhere near. They're all the way back in Thermal Station.
Nothing
so
this
there's no
time?
risk of taking a third party or anything like that right now. Alliance just going to have to pull out after that initial knock and, yeah, look, and reset.
Arctis has got the setup right now. He's got the gold mag on the G7, the turbo on the Havoc. Talking about the Havoc,
Alrighty then.
one of the favored weapons
Stay
that
safe out there.
across multiple regions now. It's been nice to see as 2 Reds, 1 Controller after the rotate actually run to Orglis in Hungary. Coming out of the tunnels, also having the right Evo shield too. Matap the Nox grenade on the side after they call in the creeping barrage. I like the different positioning that they're trying to hold different angles here to try to keep them pinched, but they're playing off the other side of the fence line. They got the crack, they get the knock to Missy. Huge advantage here, and this is a team that's also been trying to play a lot more volatile, and they're taking advantage of the position that they have as 2 Reds, 1 Controller try to run for their life.
Yeah, and it's chasing them into zone right now, or they're just going to let them sit there. I wasn't sure about that caustic ultimate, honestly, coming out of Matafe there. It seemed very speculative. But they do get the knock in the end, so that's something. But if they don't want to follow 2R1C into the zone, I mean, where do they go next? Obviously, they've got the recon character, so there's a couple of survey beacons in front of them where they can get some information, both here in Ghost Town, but also over in Fragment East as well. That's on their way to the circle, and we'll see with the zone pull, Vicky. But you might be getting, I don't know if it was your wish or your greatest fear, but we might be getting that pull underneath the Raven.
I'll tell you, rank changes you a little bit, and if you see where these circles have been pulling, you can't forget them. Maybe you'll even find them in your dreams sometimes after a long play session of Apex, but taking a look at 40% worse, who unfortunately haven't really been able to put themselves on the board. For the last 2 games have definitely been struggling. This has to be the game where they find that momentum, because again, this is the last game on World's Edge before we make that transition into Stormpoint, and Shiv is separated from his team, and look who's creeping right behind him. It is Alliance.
What? Shiv, he goes up the zip line.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Oh no, he's being caught up completely here. No, actually, some shots to cover come out from his teammates on Mirage Trois here. And they still take Shiv down though. There you go, the 30-30 shot from Alliance. Effect coming through. They want to drop, get the finish.
Oh, this is huge. The fact that it was a Caustic that dropped down to try to get the res is ginormous with the fact that they have this building secured. They can definitely get the res, but can they get the reset with them being separated, or is the Alliance going to capitalize off of the solo who has height after getting that?
Wow. Are you kidding me? Almost pumps out 100 with the alternator. Below, but there we go. They do get the full finish. So now the question is, can they get the rest of them as well? There goes Mandy.
just talking about how they needed this. Alliance got a whiff of our conversation and decided to just put a stop to whatever could have been the potential of 40% worse. Now they have to see if they could be at least 40% better on Storm Point. Red Dragons, a team that have made that rotate now, looking to see the squads that already found themselves in a building over by Countdown. This is pest control inside of here. There's also a beacon over to their left, but it's the EMP that roars out in their ears before they try to make the initial push.
Such a good way to start the fight off. They've got that caustic ult in reserve should they need it, but they don't. It's just pest control playing this the Joe today, obviously, which means that Red Dragon, yeah, they can conserve their ultimates and use them later.
It's unfortunate too, you know, having that information from Red Dragon, especially with the EMP and seeing that it was 2 that they were able to hit off of the damage that they made. They were able to just fully send it, confident to take the fight, completely take out the zero from the building. Now taking a look at 2 rounds controller. They are on the high ground here. Not too sure if they themselves have the information on where the circle's pulling, but they definitely have the shots that they're landing on the squad right in front of them. They've made quite a rotate though, you have to imagine actually, and navigating from Overlook all the way around from Fragment straight up into Skyhook as quickly as they could.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely don't have that info, right? Because they're not even playing a controller character this time. They do have the crypto there. There is 2 survey beacons available to them within Skyhook. So all of those teams running the crypto are actually going to get a really good sense of maybe not where the circle's pulling, but at least where everyone else is playing as we see it shift. Oh, it goes all the way west here. Team Tactical. I mean, you said it. So is the zone.
They're always ahead of it, and I mean, I guess it helps when you know where these circles are going to be pulling, but Kashira's such a good player when it comes to calling out these final circles. They're definitely an orbiter. I mean, no one's allowed here in this house. All around here, I mean, corporate. And they're definitely not going to be moving out anytime soon, but you have to imagine with the amount of cryptos that we have in this lobby, these fences may be taken down soon, but they could also prevent other teams from taking this evil harvester that is right inside, or rather on the outskirts of this building.
Yeah, teams may come looking for that at some point if they're just about to upgrade to purple or red. Could be a free kill. We're definitely seeing some, you know, some scuffles that wouldn't have happened before over these inflection points around the map. They've also got a ring console in Lava Fissure that'll be in the zone. Potential for them to scan that and get even, you know, further information later on into the game. But we'll just have to see how many other teams start pulling up into Lava Fissure once they realize what is happening.
Well, they hear a squad right above them, and that squad also got the scan on the beacon to see where that circle will be pulling. But look at the Evo Shield difference here. This is why it's so important to highlight. Each 6 has a purple, a red, and a blue. Meanwhile, it looks like the squad above them are still all set up on blue. And that's all thanks to the lifeline, too, you have to imagine. The Evo Harvester cash that they get from those care packages really come in clutch, aside from the Kraber that they get, too.
Yeah, big deal. So, yeah, I'm assuming that Kraber came from Slab's care pack here. Oh, the EMP isn't going to stop them pushing in and destroying 2R1C.
And that was 2R1C in the same building as 2 other squads, by the way. Full English looking to get involved potentially here, too, as they play on the outskirts of Infinity. See E6 looking down the balcony, wanting even more blood. 15 squads still left in this lobby, but I love the way that they played that, utilizing the EMP as the initiator for that push.
Oh, man. Guess who's in Godspot again?
So I bet you. Oh, yeah, just look right now. Actually, they were there from the very beginning. They called it out so early. That squad has not left by the rocks, but they also are denying themselves the Evo Shield opportunity to getting whatever they need. So have to definitely look at that squad and see how they down. Now looking to stay on the high ground, staying right behind the Dragons. They do not expect it. No turbo on the Havoc as he slides in. He's got the blue. Mac here. Sasha going crazy in the middle, getting that knuckle.
They're coming out. Do they really want to play this? I mean, they kind of have to win this. They can't really run away. If they get out of this as not a trio, honestly, they will get chewed up and spat out by the other teams closer to the zone.
Oh, Fito literally won. Duke's now trying to juke them over on the other side. Gets the next knock right afterwards. He is going absolutely crazy. He's getting great from a team from afar, but playing off this pillar, though, can they get the reset? Fito's literally just trying to heal up real quick. There is one knocked right in front of them. Sanka's right behind him. The fact that Red Dragons is still alive is crazy, but so is Sanka.
E6 went out as well, by the way, so that's been a horror start for them. To the day today on groups A and B. But zone's closing now. Red Dragon and Mine, they've taken too long. I think both of them are probably going to get picked off by these other teams as they try and make it towards the circle here. Passion and Stay Healthy, I think, are going to have their number. Orgless and Hungry here, they've tried to move up and usurp EXO plan here from that fantastic spot that they're in. Crater.
While they fight for their lives, they clean up EXO right at the very end. Let's jump into a listen to Orgless and Hungry as they make it rotate into that.
There's two now. We're really fucking good. Well fucking played, boys.
6. How many bombs?
Guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a lot of advance. I'll give you. I'm just thinking, that team has to push us. Okay?
It's the passion that I'm feeling right now, Gino. Orgless and Hungry clear this side for now before other teams make their rotate through the rocks.
Yeah, they know how big that was. We called it out. EXO in a fantastic spot, and once again, they picked the right spot for the end game. Unfortunately, unlike game 2, they can't hold on to it. ANC outplayed. They've been playing the top of trials for quite a while, so that gives them a free walk into this last zone. They just have to worry about the sightlines here moving in towards Orgless and Hungry. Over on the western side there, Vicky, Alliance just now setting up their evac tower for a late rotate in over the mountains.
They happen to do this a lot, we're witnessing, but this time they have on the rock. They're going to be landing right inside the next circle. Fight for their life. Yes, once again, that is a Wraith on your screen. She's got Portal as Ranches manages to get away. Loses out on both teammates. Get dirty completely. 07, get eliminated in your feed. This is the bloodbath that we had mentioned. You saw that wrecking ball from the Mad Maggie. With the boost pads on the ground, Alliance landing on top of Team Portugal. Gets 2 knock, and they immediately get taken out. All that work inside that building just failing before their eyes, and now Hawkins trying to get them suppressed fire as they try to get effect right back up to fight. Oh my goodness, Hawkins with the shots. Can a lucky clean up?
Doesn't quite make it. No, it's ANC outplayed, and now Orgless and Hungry are definitely getting hungry. They try and shove Outplayed into the zone. They do it successfully. Passion once again have made it to the very, very late game, but they have to contend with the Kraber of Matafe.
They keep doing it. They try to capitalize. Matafi manages to try to get away, at least around the corner. Some suppressed fire from Kinda, but he's missing some of these crucial wingman shots. He needs to land these. You have to hit these. And in the very end, following up with the Bolt, Orgless and Hungry win game number 3, our final game on World's Edge.
Matafe says, you can take my players, but you can't take my wins. A first place here.
Wow, and that was off of what? Them landing by Lawless Siphon, trying to go over to Overlook, making that rotate from Overlook. Very similar to what we have seen from 2 Wrestler Controller into Skyhook countdown area to fight their way from countdown into that final circle where they finally navigated around Skyhook. It was just a big pathway for that squad, but they were absolutely looking hungry. That Skyhook building.
taking that fight with Exo Clan, right? That was pretty much all or nothing for them. And in the end, they got it all. They got the win and walked away with quite a few kills as well.
That was really big for Arctis. I believe before that game, they were sitting 7th overall in the last 2 games. So that third game was huge here. With a 15-kill game, aside from the dub that they take for a final game on World Edge. Passion still staying in the conversation in the final circle, getting 2 KP, but getting second nonetheless. Even looking all the way down to Alliance, 6 KP, outplayed with 4 KP. This is a team that was still in trials basically the entire time, managing to take some shots at the teams that were fighting in Skycook. Looking all the way down though, Red Dragon with 4 KP, even Mind with 4 KP. These are the teams that were fighting over by Countdown.
Oh, and then you know, moving on from that, who are the big names in the bottom 20, Vicky? Element 6 still down there. This time they pick up 5 kills, which is good. You know, coming into this, they had the second most kills in the entire Pro League for EMEA, but they have just had an absolute shocker to start off today.
Yeah, they're getting the KP. I mean, 2x with controller, we've seen that they've been able to frag out themselves, of course, but they're getting their KP similarly to that team, but they have not been able to find the rotation safely into where they want to navigate to, whether it be on the edge of the circle or sit in final circle positioning. Now, it comes into question, is it a comp issue that they're having right now with the different perks provided to them of what they want to work with that may benefit them better? Because this is unlike E6 in a lobby where they literally got first back to back. And now they're seeing in the second page here after that final game, and that was actually quite incredible to see so many other teams like Arctis and Hunter basically wipe out the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, exactly. Those teams just soaking up a lot of those for some of these other teams. You know, you can't just grab a few points here and really waltz on by. You have to be performing extremely well if you want to be at the top of a lobby like this.
Yeah, and with 15 KP going to at least one squad, that's denying the opportunity for a lot of the other teams that may want to have a pop-off game for World's Edge before we make that transition into Stormpoint, essentially just denied from them. So that was great awareness from Arctis, and also just playing into that final circle. You know they're going to be skyrocketing in the overall leaderboards, but that's crazy to see too, Genome, that we get to kind of discuss and highlight what we can see perhaps in going on to Stormpoint and what that could change for some of these teams.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. Obviously, we've seen a good spread of lobbies there in World's Edge. We'll continue to see Stormpoint. Will it tighten up? Will we get even more available to us? Yeah, hard to predict at this point, honestly. I mean, we talked at the start of the day about how the Corsair has actually played across into Stormpoint, where previously it was more of a specialist World's Edge pick.
Yeah, and it's cool to talk about how we may see that consistency all the way through, whether it be teams sticking to the cost, or we're going to see a shift away from that. But what has been interesting to see is not only did we have like the race, obviously, like we could maybe see that going into Stormpoint, or if we're going to see an increase in Valkyries, especially teams that may land on the north side Stormpoint, because there's so much space to cover. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to bring back my girl Glitter here into the conversation, because we have had a fantastic first 3 games here thus far on World's Edge.
I feel like everybody came to play. People are realizing that the clock is starting to tick down when it comes to how much available time is left to put themselves in a solid spot, whether that's for regional finals or whether that's they're really focusing down for LAN, because we've seen some pop-off performances from teams that were in the middle or even farther below that in the overall standings. I mean, the fact that we have had Passion in the discussion 3 games in a row, whether that's a first place or a second place finish, I mean, that type of consistency from a team that needed it, because I think they were somewhere around 17th or something heading into today. That's huge. I mean, what is it, the meta? Or what is it? What changed, you know?
I mean, I don't think so. You can see there's a very specific sort of style that Passion are playing, right? You know, really just lurking in the shadows when we get towards those end games and then popping their head out at just the right time. And I don't think that's got anything to do with the legends they're playing, honestly. Maybe a little bit, depending on what kind of scans and stuff they have available to them. But yeah, it's been a very noticeable playstyle from them, because it's been the same play and game after game.
Whatever it is, it's working. Okay. Let's see if they can continue this consistency on the Storm Point, though. Or if it was just a world's edge type thing. Obviously, though, before we get into Storm Point, we've got lots of stuff to talk about in the halftime portion of our show. It's time for us to take a look back at the final circles of our first 3 matches, because we have had an insane start today so far. Specifically, match number 1, ready to bring it. Okay, we saw that this was the finish in Skyhook over near that drill tower. And
If you are here to buy, I've got the best selection of medicine in the wasteland.
As did Team Portugal, where they were kind of towards the edge of this ring and waited for everybody else to make a push. And when this fight popped off, where Cybercats was pushed, forced down without their
I hope you get feeling better.
We didn't get to see what Maggie was going to bring to the table. It was just easy pickings at the end here. Passion was able to let everybody else kind of have those final fight moments, move in on Team Portugal after they had pushed into 2R1C. Everything was going down, and this was a great start for Passion. But then heading into match number 2, Gino, things got even better.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the most straightforward games you'll see, right? EXO up the top there, all the way set up with their Watson. And this was that crucial point, right? Okay, Effect throws out the gravity lift. Were they going to go up? I mean, okay, so they're getting EMP'd, they're getting bang ulted. Yeah, I don't know, maybe that's the reason they didn't want to go up, because obviously once your aim gets stunned by EMP, you're also losing 50 shields across the board for your team. You're at a severe disadvantage. So I guess I can understand why they may not have wanted to take on EXOClan in that moment, but that also does pretty much just guarantee them a 2nd place. Oh, sorry, well, it was the 3rd place here, so...
Listen, then we move on into match number 3, and we get consistency out of some of these teams again. We got to see something out of Alliance here. Team Portugal in that kill feed, also up here in these top spots. But at the end of the day, Vicky, talk me through these final moments.
It was so much chaos. So you could see that why the Bloodhound's being utilized a lot more often, with the fact that we're seeing a more Caustic and Bangalore. But Orgus and Hungry were absolutely hungry with the way that they approached that circle coming out of Skyhook, but with the way that they were also holding different split positioning. Even with Matafe having 2 players on top of him, that was 2 players that had to split their focus from a team fight, leave their solo behind them, and that just allowed Kinda and Tyler to enable them to clean up what was the solo that was left all the way on the other side, which was the Caustic. Easy pickings for them, and with a huge game at that, 15 KP in the pocket aside from the dub has allowed them to elevate themselves in the overall standings after 3 games alone.
15K is wildly impressive, and now they're sitting in a very comfortable 1st place spot.
Now
Only
that
1
was a good
point
deal.
Above Passion.
Trust
with their
me.
insane consistency
I'm a
here today.
duck.
But as we take a look at the rest of these series results so far, Genome, who's jumping out at you?
Passion have placement points right now as the makeup of their 41 points overall. That is one of the most important stat lines that I have seen. Passion were running at 45% of their points were coming from placement. Were coming from placement. So the fact that they're getting 75% today is unreal.
Like I said, we've seen some really, really strong performances from some of these teams. On the flip side of that, Vicky, you've got 2R1C who's getting a lot of their points from their kills. Instead of their placement points, they've been super aggressive so far today.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how kill heavy at the top end of the overall standings is sitting. I mean, even looking all the way down to Alliance, who still remain in the conversation of top 3, even including a new player into this roster where they feel very comfortable where they're standing and the way that they approach these final circles. But then I want to focus on the 2nd half of the lobby. We talk about E6 a lot because E6 was the 1st placing team both times that we've seen these lobbies meet up again. in the past. So the fact that they're on that second page, still in 11th place with 9 KP, they're getting the kills, but they are dying on rotation. So we have to see if that can present themselves in a better format in Storm.
Yeah, definitely some teams here, they're going to be looking to make a big concerted push come the next 3 matches, whether that is a map that they happen to do better on versus World's Edge, or a team that just needs to get some points on the board. I mean, I know we keep saying there's a little bit of time, but I feel like I blinked and we've already finished 3 matches. I don't know what happened, where they went, but these teams don't have a lot of time left today, or just one. This for at least Group A, if I'm not mistaken. So we got excited to see what they can do here on Storm Point. But you know that we always also have something for all of you at home, and today is no different. All right, you can tune into any Apex Legends stream right now with drops enabled, and you will earn hollow sprays while you watch your favorite streamers all season long. Now you notice the drops will change every 2 weeks, so at the end of it all, you can end up with 6 new hollow sprays. You gotta tune in, make sure you're earning those rewards, because they are really cool. I can't even choose which one I like the best. It might be Valkyrie. I don't know. They look fantastic, though, Vicky. Genome, we've got to keep this thing rolling, which means it's time for you to take a break or a nap, whatever you prefer. You know, just give yourself a little bit of a respite, okay? We'll see you back here in a little bit. For now, it's me and Vicky. We're looking towards Storm Point. We talked about it. We've got to see what our teams can bring to the table here this time around.
And with the new map comes in a potential of different 50-50s, although Cybercat does like to split their loot between Coastal Camp and Echo, so we're not really expecting too much chaos to ensue in that area. But we do have each of our teams landing in their respective POIs, and with the perks coming into play, the Valkyries that we've been seeing in these lobbies too, you have to imagine how that skyward dive crosses so much distance on a map like Storm Point, especially if your goal is to get the Cossack or taxi the big boys. I mean, even in NA, we saw Optic playing Gibby and Cossack and Valkyrie. If that's the end goal here, you have a Cossack on your team like we have been seeing. And like what Genome said, we've been seeing, especially on still, even out of World's Edge, then that may be the angle for some of these teams that want to prioritize those rotates.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be keeping our eyes on quite a few spots here. Also, LVH and Aftermath, we watched how that contested all through World Edge. Something that they have to worry about here on Storm Point. So maybe for them to get some more points.
Okay. Gonna take a look at the legend compositions in just a minute here while our teams get settled in their POIs. It's the different races. Will they still be used here in this lobby? And I don't know if my eyes are just Mandy's just had it, but 40% worse. Maybe bringing a Pathfinder to the team. We'll have to tune into them later, because they definitely need to see some signs of life after their lackluster performance on World's Edge. LVH, this doesn't have to worry about a 50-50 happening over here, but in the outskirts over by the north side of Storm Point here, looking at Northpad, Mind and Team Portugal make their way around each other.
Definitely close. We'll have to see if either team is feeling a little spicy after the performance here on World's Edge. I also going on that you were asking about lifelines. We're still getting some lifelines being brought in here as well, which I love that we're starting to see lifeline being brought back into the meta. I think that she's actually, after yesterday, proven to be very useful for these squads as we get a look here at where the first zone's going to be. Cold, looking so comfortable at command center right now, but they're going to have to find run out, grab that Evo Harvester harvester, hit those bins if they can, get some of their gear leveled up. Still, they'll be so much less protected than the rest of those teams rotating in.
Yeah, that's why the lifeline is so important too, right? Like you mentioned, not only do you get those Evo trophies out of your care package, but you could potentially even get a power weapon while you're at it too. So when you're trying to play for whether you get left by the circle or in that final positioning, that care package could definitely come in clutch. Mine is going to be able to also clear up some of these prowlers, which also gives you some more Evo shield charge, and you can even see it played out right here, whether it's the prowlers, the flies, or even the spiders. You got your own little mini objectives to take care of at storm point, which also allows these teams to have a much better fighting advantage when it comes to the start of these fights on storm point specifically.
Yeah, it's a very different situation here. Obviously, those being unique to storm point, and we can see Team Portugal. All right, dang. Just a little against the lines there for Team Portugal. So we'll have to see what they're able to do as they kind of coexist in the same area. It's because there's an Evo Harvester over there that they know both those teams want, but Aftermath trying to make a little bit of a drive-by, work in their favor, taking tons of damage, trying to throw down that smoke. But they find themselves in a rough spot, being chased down right now.
They're zooming right to stay healthy. They want some of the heat here, and they take some shots. They're still playing off that slight low ground, though. Mexico isolated, actually, in the smoke for right now. We're trying to meet up with the rest of the team, while Aftermath says, all right, well, our priorities are in trying to get whatever Evo Harvester we can get. And they're one on the north side where Aftermath is currently. You can imagine their teams, especially by wall command, probably want the same Evo gap. So we have to see how more of these teams try to for that Evo charge. Some of these teams, an evac tower, Exoplan, down a member, looking to maybe go into the replicator to see if they're not even a replicator. They haven't been able to cover his banner, and they don't have a support line. There is no coming back from this.
That's definitely going to be a bit of a rough spot for Exoplan. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2R1C that just kind of went a little bit wide on their rotation, decided to push Exoplan, see if they could ruin their day. They definitely put them on a back foot here. As you're saying, they're now going to be forced to exist as a 2 and completely change the way they're going to now push through into the next circle. 07 finding themselves going up against Cold here inside of this command center, and we knew that this could have potentially been rough for Cold because they want to hold it, but also everybody else needs to find some place to coexist, and right now they've done a good job on blue shields and keeping everybody away from them. These caustic barrels are going to be huge in that zoning, and through the smoke, nice shots coming out of Graceful, making the move onto Bloodhound, but does go down, and now Cold are a duo.
The fact that Amphi still got that knock is crazy, even with the initial push right there with the caustic Nox gas. JMW is the last one alive on the other side. You see the pings going out. What is he going to do? Do you navigate away, take your loss? I mean, seeing the fact that Natsky is pretty healthy here with those Evo shields, he realizes that this is unwinnable, is just rather navigating away and retreating instead of trying to push into a 2-man.
I think that was just a little bit of bad timing, bad coordination there on behalf of Cold. It looked like Graceful was the only one that made that move up, but now it looks like 07 have some decent space, only have to worry about a solo on behalf of Cybercast, are starting to make their rotations, checking through this wall here if they need to worry about anybody in Jurassic. They know that there is one squad across the way. They're going to have to make a choice soon because they don't want to have a pinch here between anybody else.
Not at all, especially being right here by Jurassic. You're looking behind, you have pylon in case anybody wants to late rotate in. You see that quick scan, less than 5 seconds perk on the board here for Longzi. This is one of the teams also rocking the Valkyrie, by the way, so they will be able to get information if they take the Skyward Dive or even an evac tower overhead by any of the squads that may be in the middle of rotating. LPH, one of the teams that are slow rotating because they want to prioritize a survey beacon, see where other teams are right now, while also being able to boost up those Evo shields.
Much healthier LVH there, and they've got a little bit of space to play with. They're right on the edge of the next circle, so they've got some space and time and not too many teams to worry about. Red Dragon jukes down to almost no health, able to get the bat off and get the shields back up, but they are also down to a 2, trying to hold off across the way. Mine go down in the kill feed. Now we're down to just Fatude here for Red Dragon, trying to make an escape here while getting those heals off. At least able to give himself a little bit of space, but that's definitely not what they wanted to happen.
Hey, at the very least, the third party may have helped him get away just in time, hiding behind the bamboo tree right in front of him. But those prowler shots, unfortunately, were just not hitting for him. So he was unable to give some suppressed fire and trying to maybe get a reset going. But right behind him, you can see Stay Healthy, Infinity, Aftermath over to the other side. More of these teams are going to be rotating from the wall side, looking at Alliance and Team Portugal that are just about to meet. But it's this circle. Command Center with 07 taking that fight against Cold has now set them up in a great position on the outskirts of Command Center, but mostly looking at the teams that are going to be forced to travel uphill, looking like Stay Healthy, Passion, playing on the outskirts of that Command Center, closer to the Spider Den area.
A little bit of an overview here. We've got Alliance going up against Team Portugal. Both teams keeping each other in their sights right now, not wanting to force too much action up at the wall. I believe there's one other team up on the other side of Team Portugal as well, on the other side of wall, so they're kind of finding themselves in the middle of everything, just taking their time here. Meanwhile, 2R1C slow rotating. They've got loads of space here on the map, which is giving them an opportunity to at least get those evos nice and healthy. Same situation with ANC outplayed. They're now on purples and looking quite comfortable.
Oh, they heard something. They know that there was a team right above them. They set up a toxic trap right behind them by the zip line, and they're just going to rotate. Yep, that's going to be Team Portugal once again, waiting on the high ground. Wondering here if it is here that they have shields. LPVECH right behind them. They actually got away just in time. As they make this rotate, Aftermath is playing on the edge of where this circle is going to be pulling, so they will be met with another team soon. Fighting now on the outskirts of Command Center. It's E6 that have taken this building up on the north side of the zip line. Over on the other side of that, see Alliance inside of the building over by Wall. They will have to leave Wall eventually for this next circle, with 3 other teams meeting them on the other side of where Wall is.
They've got a little bit of time here to play with, as they are on the slower side of this zone collapse, but they will have to make a move soon. They're trying to figure out what exactly is safe. I don't know if they realize that one of the teams is a duo in pest control. They're playing that a little bit safer, but they're going to have to make a push. ANC outplayed in a choke right now with LVH, having a little bit of back and forth as well. Potentially going to try and take this as the beast of the hunt is popped.
Oh, the Spiders are trying to give them at least a little bit of covers here. Sometimes it be your own. It's not just the players like to worry about, but it's also the Spiders on the map. Dax now trying to get into position, trying to avoid the Arctis, using the caustic barrels as a makeshift shield, but is in a good spot where his teammates can cover his back just to give him some suppressed fire. If this team does decide to overextend here, LVH see a team flying right above their heads. They turn around and decide, maybe we should try to take this squad that's uphill, or are we going to wrap around that next choke that is to their north? There's another fight happening over here as SPS get caught in it.
This is the Team Portugal you were talking about, all on blue shields. Now everybody fighting inside of this storm. Aftermath doing a good job at least taking out some people, but everyone taking big chunks of health damage right now, having to back off and try and get these heals, at least on behalf of LVH, maybe regretting moving back into the storm and having to continue this engagement. You can see it's LVH. Team Portugal are now out. Aftermath decide to escape, and it was looking like ANC Outblade might try to move in as well. Alliance, having finally made their move in, have to keep everybody in their sights. That will be Pest Control. One of Pest Control going down at the hands of Alliance. They've got a little bit more space now, and they are 3 versus a rat when it comes to having to continue moving in.
Where did that solo go? He's still next to
She's right. I don't know.
There's so many spots on the side of Storm that you would just never expect Oh, take it to the skies. LVH just cannot catch a break with these rotates. This is a good example, and why to highlight how early rotates just really help out when you're running a composition like this, especially with the Cossack. They are paying for it now. As outplayed, pinch him on the other side from another squad that was shooting at them from Cascade Falls. That is Orgless and Hungry with those 30-30 shots ringing in the air. But Andy Jax has found himself in a crevice here with the rest of his team, and they're here and they're happy with it, with the replicator being right next to them. If they need to get any bats or med kits, looking at Willem, who's only got one syringe left.
We also saw that Alliance was able to find that solo on pest control in the kill feed, so now Alliance has cleared out a little bit of space around them. They are sitting a little bit more comfortably as Orgless and Hungry continue just to kind of be watching the peripheral. They too will have to making a move in here in just a few moments. So they're trying to see who they can push through in order to do that. Looks like there might be Cybercats flying overhead as Orgless makes their move. And yeah, that is Cybercats. They have now flown past them, trying to find some safe space to coexist. But Elonzi taking lots of damage on the landing. Cybercats now down to just ranches as they are taking so many hits from everyone around them.
With a double time coming in clutch as Ranches gets you some cover for right now. Outplay get eliminated in your feeds here. I'm saying hockey's with this Mozam. It has been cooking up in his hands here. Sees the crypto drone. Unfortunately, though, it does not have so it still has that one here with crazy spots trying to get up here while these other teams on the outskirts for their lives. 40% worse, right on top of Orgless and Hungry, or playing all the then if you wanted to see in action, here it is. 40% worse than have only secured one single point so far. I mean, that's one. But he's at least on top of this team that's right below them.
I want to see the mobility, okay? We've got pieces of move here, so let's jump in real quick and see what's
down for you before you don't need to. No, we do. You can plug him in, okay? Oh. Just like that, I'm dead.
Now so close to losing themselves. Slap with the head. That here navigates away with the lifeline being the lifeline that they need to maintain placement points. 2 rats, 1 controller though now get to move in and spend all the loot at their feet as if Christmas came early.
See, this is what happened when 07 took the good spot from Cold. Everybody pushes in for it, and now there's just more teams trying to get inside of that side of Command Center. Meanwhile, Orgless and Hungry have to make a move in, and they are top 2 all the way when it came to World Edge. Orgless and Hungry, though, just coming off of a win with really high KP, so this should be a good fight.
Just got the wingman. Don't let us down this time. We were looking at those shots. They came out on top, but those wingman shots, a little sus. As he's just trying to hold a little head glitch over to the side. They see that they're rotating over, so they try to take the high ground here, but this is a much better spot to hold for Orgless. As long as they clear this.
See how that ends up playing out for them. Meanwhile, still trying to battle it out in this area. Now they're up against Infinite and down to a 2. Hacky's no longer able to help, but Unlucky and Infinite both on break, doing a fantastic job here, maintaining some space for all these squads, making them look nice hits with the Valkyrie. That makes a huge opening here for Alliance to move in the smoke, really helping them here as well. And stay healthy goes down at the hands of 2 on Alliance.
Love the follow from Unlucky right there. Effect with the entry frag with the missile storm helping them out. Has better jetpack handling too, looking at that second here. Unlucky trying to get suppressed fire as Orgless and Hungry see the opportunity to single one out from Alliance. Misses out on that Kraber shot. Only 2 bullets left here. And Alliance get eliminated. 6 squads now left here.
Still a great run on behalf of Alliance. Orgless and Hungry continuing to just kind of steamroll through anybody that's in their path. Now trying to close in on the rat from Cold. I misspoke. I thought Cold had somehow died already. JMW is playing the most epic game of hide and seek right now, Vicky.
Actually, how? Actually, how does he fit there? It's the bang too, so like, you're swifty with it. All right. Well, Orgless and Hungry would have not expected that. Can you imagine if they just randomly just scanned in that direction? That'd be unlucky.
No. I mean, he's not a terrible position. He's right on the edge of the next ring as well. Could potentially just kind of sneak in, and no one's looking that way, so they might not even think to pay attention to that space anymore. Like you said, as long as he doesn't get scanned, might be able to get some more points on the board for Cold as 2R1C now have this high ground and are trying to throw some nades down. See what they can do. Also playing go down. 2R1C looking the way of Orgless and Hungry, who is across from them, as well as the full English, trying to manage both of these teams right now.
You're micromanaging everything. They're looking like chameleons. One on one team, the other on the other, over to the left side. While Orgless and Hungry try to keep 2 rats at bay, Full English is a full man squad still looking over to see how they want to approach this uphill. This is why the command center area was so important to hold, even if you're denying yourself a little bit of Evo shield here. But Orgless and Hungry have been fighting non-stop. 11 kills share between the whole team before they fully send it onto Full English. This is the green light now for Orgless and Hungry to just clean up on aisle 3. They take another game, this time on Storm Point. Back-to-back wins for Orgless and Hungry.
That was a very, very strong win for Orgless and Hungry as well. Like I said, we caught them time and time again, rolling through teams, whether they were in a choke or they were third-party situations. They looked so clean and confident. And I don't know if you saw, Vicky, when we were on the overhead, Tyler went back over to where JMW was ratting, lost all of his shields for it. JMW punished him, but they did end up finding him hiding in those plants to take out the lone rat from Cold. I mean, that was a fun ending.
That was really good too, and even better for Orgless and Hungry. Did they just get 15 KP all over again, like with the dub on top of that? Orgless and Hungry, they came and they conquered, and that's what them, I believe, rotating from Pylon. So what a rotate from Pylon on the south side all the way up from Cascade. They wrapped around Cascade like we saw through Spider Cave area, where they were able to play more on that lip uphill. They knew that side was already clear, so those rotates, aside from the fact that they were also cleaning up the lobby, once again proves Orgless and Hungry as they take another dub. That was a big game for this team, and before they won the last 2 games, they were sitting in 12th place overall after the first 2 games on World's Edge, so they've just settled pretty comfortably now, probably first.
They just looked like they have figured out their team flow. They were working as a unit, pushing all together when they were going to make a concerted push or backing off at the right times. They moved through the dead zones of that final ring really, really well, found themselves some space to work with, and just looked so solid. The fact that I didn't even realize it was 15 kills, Vicky. The fact that they had back-to-back wins with 15 kills, I mean, that's insane. That's a performance that will keep them at the top of this leaderboard for the rest of the day. I feel like that's crazy.
And what's nice to know But is that in the overall standings, Orgulous and Hungary was a top 5 team. I believe they were in 4th, so they've been ramping up. They didn't have the best last Pro League day that they had played in, which was groups B and C. And now they have just been full sending, new season, new look. And Orgulous and Hungary is just looking to just not be Orgulous or Hungry anymore, I guess. I mean, they're hungry for kills, but they are just looking to stay on top. Yup, 15 KP, but that doesn't mean we can't see all the way in the bottom. Alliance with 13 KP themselves, splitting some of that just kills here for the rest of the lobby. I mean, leave some for the rest of us here. 2 Rats, 1 Controller. Finish in second with 4 KP, full English, playing off the side there with the Crypto we saw finding themselves at 2 KP. But JMW did what JMW needed to do, which was get those placement points, sitting cold in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they got caught in the situation that they were in, even if they had survived that fight against 07, we saw what then happens to 07 when everybody else tried to push in and take that spot in command center. So there was no guarantee that Cold would have been able to hold that, even if they hadn't lost. That was a rough. So JMW, like I said, did a really good job there, at least getting some points on the board for the squad. Getting some nice KP because of that early game fight with Cold, able to kind of clean a few more up after that. But the 2 points, but Orgulous and Hungary and Alliance left literally no crumbs for anybody else on this second page to try and pick up. So. We continue getting through our matches. There's less and less opportunities here. Our team need to try and have strong performances in the last 2 matches of the day. But we get an opportunity here to take a look at the kill leaderboard as well. Tyler up at the top with 17, followed very closely by that new addition to Alliance, Vicky in Unlucky. Talk about making sure you prove while you're there.
It's actually crazy. I mean, Tyler is always such a heavy fragger. 17 kills though, with Unlucky being right there, 14 kinda. It's the fact that you have all 3 members of Orgulous and Hungry in this top 5 here to really highlight the performance that they've been bringing to the table for today. And we want to see more of this. With 2 more games left, Glitter, what could go down here? The teams that really haven't been able to pick up any scraps because there just simply isn't any kills for them to pick up in the rest of the lobby.
I cannot wait to see what is going to happen here right now. Like we mentioned, though, Orgulous and Hungry after those 2 performances, untouchable at the top and almost a 50-50. Split between their placement points and their kills because they've been so consistent when they've been doing well. So they're now finding themselves 69 points. Almost, no, yes, Lauren, do math the right way. More than 20 points of passion. This is impressive.
More passion has definitely been brought in from this team too, because they've been consistently in the top 5 during World's End. This team keep performing, or Alliance is going to spread
now.
tying themselves up with points apiece. 2 Rats with Controller, another team that has no issue finding Orgulous and Hungry. Big gap between themselves and the rest of this lobby right now.
Yeah, these last 2 matches are going to mean a lot for some of our teams. But before we get into them, it's time for another short break. And when we return, more Storm Point action coming at you.
So, what are you buying today?
Welcome back, everyone, to the ALGS. It's been non-stop action here in EMEA. I'm Vicky Kitty. I'm throwing with Genome once again. Hope you enjoyed your little break, maybe 5-minute nap or something. But hopefully you got to take a look at the action because we had non-stop action for our final circle closer to Command Center on Storm Point. It's been fun to watch how the games have been able to play out so far, but it's even more fun to see how the teams have been able to readjust with these different legend comps if they're bringing them out to the table for Storm Point, or we get to take a look at teams like Orglis and Hungary who are just absolutely dominating thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to miss them taking out the back-to-back there, Vicky. It's, really coming home strong here for Orglis and Hungary. And, you know, we were
I hope you come back and see me sometime.
How Alliance has sort of adjusted to the new team changes that they've made, but obviously losing the biggest friend in the entire league. Doesn't seem to matter to Matafe right now. He's still making it work. The calls that he's making are still the right ones, and they put themselves on top of the lobby by more than 20 points. You know, probably wrapped up a first place here. That's incredible. For Orglis and Hungary, they're almost certainly on path to make it to land.
Yeah, if you guys are hungry, just like Orglis is right now, if you think that the Apex action ends today, well, guys, you couldn't be go wrong because we have the EMEA and NA Challenger Circuit Finals tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. CEST, kicking off with our very own Dia and Graceful for EMEA, and then NA at 6 p.m. with Tom and Turns. So definitely make sure you check it out at twitch.tv/versus_GG. And obviously a huge thanks to our friends over at Versus GG for putting that show on for us. It's been a good time, so non-stop Apex action for you guys to take a look at if the ALGS is not enough.
Nah, man, Graceful's like the nicest guy. Actually, I say that. He's with Dia. Dia is the nicest guy. Graceful is maybe the second nicest guy, but that is just going to be the most delightful cast.
Yeah, whenever I think about Graceful, all I can think about, Genome, is our time in the green room back at Champs, where he was just pelting devs with all the questions in the world. It was great. It was, you had to be there. It was quite an experience. Graceful being able to take us to the Challenger Circuit is going to be an amazingly enjoyable experience. And speaking of Graceful, they were able to just get fourth, by the way, in that last game that we saw JMW ratting it up.
I hope you get feeling better.
Hiding in between a flower, if that's what you want to call it, over by Storm Point. But it's about those placement points that come in clutch. Yes, they didn't get the kill, but every point counts here for them. They're running out of time on putting themselves on the board for the overall leaderboard in the region.
Yeah, because Cole was 17th coming into today, I believe, which, you know, obviously doesn't give them a lot of leeway to try and make sure they're still involved in that regional final. And, you know, I call it a golden ticket, right? As long as you can make it into that regional final, you've always got a chance to take out the match point victory and therefore catapult yourself into land, even if you're too far behind, you know, lagging behind the discussion to maybe make it in through the top 8 slots.
That's a lot here for some of these teams. Even a good day like looking at Orglis and Hungary, they hope to stay safe in the top 7 so that way you don't feel threatened of being regulated or having to play through the Pro League qualifiers out here, and just basically wish or hope that you could finally make your way through. But taking a look at the map schedule right now and the teams that we're about to see going on to Storm Point once again, match number 5 is coming up shortly. 2 more games to go, Genome. 2 more games for some of these bottom end teams to secure the KP and the points that they need to find themselves in that safe spot.
I mean, I guess the other thing we also have to touch on here, Vicky, is they've also opened themselves up to the possibility of a bonus point here, right? 2 wins on the board right now, and they've done it early in the series as well. So now they have another 2 maps to try and grab 1 more win, which equals 1 more bonus point.
That's a good point, too. Yeah, especially these 2 games. I mean, if they keep playing the way figure out something here that has made this team much more cohesive and consistent. The most consistent that we've seen this team, honestly, thus far. But they've always been on the top end here in this region, always being able to find the KP that they need. But the back-to-back wins here with the KP that they've been able to find themselves with has just been crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting as well, because it hasn't necessarily always performed at the but when it comes to the EMEA region, it feels like Matafe and, you know, whichever merry band of men is leading at that particular time, that particular split, always seem to end up somewhere towards the top.
Yeah, taking a look at the lobby, the Legends select here too. Nice to see that Mandy is still sticking to the Pathfinder. I believe in the faith here that he's got, at least with the rest of his team, but all eyes on 40% worse to at least get another point on the board before we dive into match number 5. But again, it's highlighting the fact that most of the Bloodhound, Bangalore, Caustic compositions, and you highlighted it best, Genome, it's not even just on World's Edge where you get to secure some of these buildings in Final Circles with Caustic. It's here on Stormpoint too.
Yeah, but not only that, I think we just saw Matafe and crew pick up the lifeline there, Vicky.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, Orgulous and Hungry bringing out the lifeline. Bloodhound and Bangalore sticking to where they've been landing here too, but you already know with the momentum that they've built up for themselves in the last 2 games, they're absolutely feeling themselves.
I have no doubt of that whatsoever. That's that's a fun one, and I mean, gosh, you know, if you pass round 3, if you're spawning that care package, it's a 100% chance to get a care package weapon. If it's in round 1 or 2, but like honestly, purple shield, get that level 3 upgrade, and also have your ultimate upgrade. You'll see them drop down the care package. It will already be at the point where you're guaranteed one of them.
You know what's also with Orgulous and Hungry landing in Pylon, there's that ultimate accelerate tower that's also right there. So they just get a free lifeline care package off the rip while being able to get everyone's ult online in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's something they can take advantage of right there from their POI.
Yeah, it's not something you think about a huge amount, right? But if you're playing at the Pylon, then yeah, damn, why not? In previous times, you could have auto-upgraded an armor. Of course, it's not quite the same. Ooh, is that a gold mastiff? I just gotta pick up. Nice. Let's go stay healthy.
Oh. And we are moving all the way back to the north side, but instead of us moving to the west, we are moving slightly over to the east. Potentially seeing a lightning rod circle on the outskirts of the high ground, closer to command center here, and full English is going to take advantage of the evil harvester that's right there. But this is going to be an interesting rotate, looking at the southeastern squads, looking at Orgulous and Hungry, who maybe rotate to Jurassic Park, or if they want to keep finding themselves in more of these fights, even trying to take a fight over to E6, who haven't really been showing up at this lobby like they have previously.
No, not at all so far. It's been struggle street for them. That is, that's for certain. Pest control here. They are currently behind Passion. I don't know if they're actually looking to try and take a fight here, maybe catch one of them off guard. They just want that evil harvester up ahead. Get themselves to that blue armor and at least get some kind of perk online. Trident in the distance, zooming around, 07. Actually try to see if they can to pest control, because they're just trying to call up the field up there, clean up any points, but it's also the evil harvester that's also in Cascade if they can take advantage of it. And you're going to be seeing, while we make our plays in Stormpoint, much more of these teams take advantage of the wildlife, right? The prowlers, the spiders. This is how you're gonna get extra points aside from scanning the survey beacon and the control beacon. Pro players have actually had to learn quite a lot, and I think in the last couple of weeks, since those changes, Vicky, as Mine take this gravity cannon, they scan. There's no one in front of them. They may not realize they've just gravity cannoned over Stay Healthy. So they might have to actually watch their backs. But okay, we can get into the technical discussion later, because Pest Control are taking on 07 in the middle here. But of course it's duo, so that's a pretty good cleanup. Yeah, they were chasing after them for quite some time too. Right behind Cascade Falls, they got information on the ring, they got the officer, and they also so 07 feasting a bit here at the very beginning of this fifth game. 40% worse. So up here. Being a sole pathfinder in this grapple. saying we've seen up to 85% Bangalore. Actually, honestly, like it was closer to 100% in some of the situations if you take out the single or duo teams we had. But over here on Storm Point, we've seen it tick up from 50% on World's Edge to 80% pick rate now on the Bangalore EMEA. So obviously that one definitely is a little map dependent.
And what's interesting too, I mean, you have to imagine with Storm Point, you have much more of that open space when you're trying to cross open ground. And if you're taxing along a caustic, you have a big hurt box, so you're much easier and prone to getting hit. Here's 40% worse. Still take some shots at EXO. They're getting away on the Trident for now, but it's prioritizing that rotation while 40% worse also making that choke right in front of them, closer to Spider Cave.
There's like 4 or 5 teams in Tridents right now, just zooming around the south side of the map. Actually, bit of a racetrack out there.
Ooh, oh. Did not.
That was
unfortunate.
That was a fat finger.
Whether it was a fat finger or like so confused of the legends that they were on in that last game on Worlds, or rather on Worlds Edge, because they did make the swap here. Maybe seeing if they have to get more time, but it's okay. You will be able to charge that up just as quickly. The Skyward Dive doesn't take too long to come in. While EXO also trying to get away, get from 40% worse. I'm surprised they actually turned around to still find 40% worse when they were trying to move right back towards the circle.
Getting sieged inside Bamboo there. Shots in the car. They'll get out and try and reset here. Cover. They're going to have to pop the med kits before too long, but 40% worse are going to stay in the zone here to try and kill them, but they grab the gravity cannon out. One down.
Actually gets the res here, like the little body block from Thorfinn, just in case before they try to run into that next circle. Do they have the meds is the question. I mean, we see that Fricks does here. He's got 1 med kit, 4 syringes. But how long do you want to play outside the circle? It looks like only 2 syringes for the player who had gotten knocked. 40% worse, try to chase out behind. So we get to see the overhead the circles again, much closer to lightning. Alliance is going to be sitting pretty, especially with a beacon right next to them, the survey beacon specifically, to let them know where everyone may be rotating if they haven't hit it already. In case they did hit it early, they can just get those early Evo Shield points. E6 also trying to come from the edge of the circle here, but one of these teams that we're talking about, southeast, southwest side now, going to be rotating into that next circle, taking some of that circle damage.
Yeah, I think the top portion of Command Center, right, where you come out past the other spiders, is going to be an important spot to hold. E6, their malady continues here, getting completely caught off guard.
They got ran it off. They were creeping up on them. They were creep walking on the high ground and found a knock in the process, evening out the odds. As a 2v2, E6 just tucks their tail and keep on running behind them. But if they run towards Stormcatcher, you have to imagine other teams that play on the edge are there, and it's Orgless and Hungry. What better timing for them to make their way after taking the high ground here, and E6 having to figure out where they want to rotate to if they want to take this low to high ground hilltop.
I mean, they've been making some pretty good decisions the last couple of games. Vicky, as we said, on the hunt for a bonus point. But with all these other teams around them, you've got LVH over here. They're in striking distance of Red Dragon. And you can see they've taken the first casualty in the fight as well.
We get that knock originally here. Red Dragon now, trying to just restabilize. They have the advantage of getting that knock. They just want to get into a better position on the high ground without putting themselves at risk. Third party potentially coming up behind them, but so far teams are still taking their time to rotate from outside of the circle. Chaos that we saw closer to Barometer. So Cascade Falls is in the clear for the next minute or so. They also see the Evil Harvester to their left. They can also try to prevent other teams from trying to take this Evil Harvester. They just want to camp it out.
There's potentially some teams that are past there for the ring a little bit, but if they can, if one of those rings, so Rock's is still within the zone. No, it's not. They're actually thinking about. Really, or they just got a hero harvester that's down the. Yeah, okay, all right. So the hero harvester that was just below the hill there, and now they're going to try and.
100% first fire made their way outside the ring here. Red Dragon's still in the ring over to their left side. But look how many teams are by the edge of this next circle. 07 actually are landing on top of them, and they're going to pay for it. Nasty gets taken down, but it was because of some circle damage. There's a team right outside these doors. Sends out the creeping barrage in the process. But it's a team that is bunkered down, it looks like, closer to the high ground here, while 07 just trying to reset.
Yeah, that's Infinite up there. Look, they've been there pretty much the whole game, and the circle continues to pull towards them, so they will be able to play from that power spot for a little while longer. They don't give it up. They don't want to give it up. They shouldn't give it up, even though they did get the knock against Nasky. So I like this decision, but of course that works out quite well.
Good spot for them here. Looking on the other side, Infinite still are going to hold on to this side, but while they are here, they still have blue Evil Shields, denying themselves opportunities from trying to get those Evil Harvesters while playing for that end circle, of course. 40% worse, though, are getting gate kept themselves. 2 rats, 1 controller, meeting them on the other side.
Worse, always seem to go back to the zone. Such latent rotators. It's like, you know, really redlining it. 7 seconds now, you can see they're in between the zone and a Kraber. That is a rock and a hard place if I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's tough with that rotate. Even with the Kraber in hand. It's like we were talking about before, just being able to have that Kraber is so important, especially if you could clear up some spots from some of these teams that are desperate to rotate in. The evac tower has been called in. And the fight inside of this cave here is also consumed right outside of where you would be rotating from the wall. It's outplayed. Aftermath, Red Dragon, by 4 teams in this area alone, and Aftermath have now lost out on Bavis.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell on the map though whether they're actually in the cave or they're, you know, running around on top as well. I guess we'll see, but it's certainly about to kick off underneath here. Aftermath, they can see they've left their caustic player for dead. Probably not going to be able to get him back up as Red Dragon raced the zone.
This circle just makes your eyes water. They trade here. He has to watch out. Looks at his health, but he gets taken out. Red Dragon. Now, SteelSeries trying to fight for his life. He's getting pinged from right behind before he himself meets them back in the lobby. 11 squads left, and it is mine that did not give up this positioning, as they should. They cleared out the spiders, and they held the edge of the circle. And with their team composition with the Catalyst, it makes the most sense so that way they don't overextend.
Okay, so there you go. All of them underneath, and all of them go down, except for Mines, the team that will take it out. Alliance there, you can see they've moved up into 2nd place now. This is the kind of result they want if they need to be in that top 8 to make it to land, Vicky.
Can they go for the 3 times? After 2 back-to-back wins with heavy KP, they are looking unstoppable right now. E6 is right on top of them. A team that's much more quiet in the lobby that they usually dominate over. Team Portugal do get scanned over to the right side. You see the Bloodhound scan. Just trying to set up the perimeter. That's going to be mine that are poking their heads finally out of the cave to see if they can rotate anywhere around. But right above their heads is Alliance that will have to drop down soon for this next rotate.
I mean, that wasn't, just thinking about this now, that was an absolute killer rotate by 07 earlier. I've seen a similar zone. We had it earlier in the split in Apex South. And I've got to say, the teams who are where 07 and Infinite are, like on the top of Lightning Rod, it's like a castle. It's a fortress. And everyone else, when it comes to zone 5 or 6 and they have to push across that, it's like trying to get into a castle over a moat. They pull up the drawbridge and you've got nowhere to go.
And it's having that height too, always that height advantage that you just beam while they just try to poke their heads out while crawling from the low ground. That's gonna be crucial to see in the end game as Team Portugal lose out on their Valk. Getting over to the right side here as more teams try to make their way. That's probably mine that finally made their way out of the cave, and with this circle closing in behind them, they have to get going soon.
Okay, Alliance. I think when we saw earlier on, it was only a duo, so seems like they've managed to get back to full strength, and they follow in Natsuki's footsteps. Why don't we jump into a list and find out?
We're safer. Hold the doors. Make sure the team on top finish their shit. Yeah, can't run with it. Get to the left. Hold angles here. No, left. Yeah, I know. Yeah, about it. Just play this side. Yeah. I'm getting this too. This guy. Yeah, I'm with him. Team 2 wants me.
We have to watch out from this here.
I'm smoking it. I'm here smoking it. Look at this on. Yes, we need to walk in late on bridge. We need to fight CORSAIR.
I don't know where they are. I'm scared now.
Alliance, they're doing pretty well taking control of this building, but as I said before, Vicky, I don't know how much that is worth almost impossible. Element 6, 07 and Infinite will all be gunning you down as you come across. We've got about 5 teams on the other side of this. Will any of them make it across? I predict at the very most one.
Tyler looks at this movement right before his eyes, but how do you cross this right now? Trying to see if he can find a way around this building with full English has held it down. Alliance on the other side. Unlucky one. He says, wait, I don't know where they're trying to zoom their way through. Maybe they're trying to breaking off the map and then they just fly up from ahead. But Effect is the last one alive. That plan did not work out for them. Team Portugal get eliminated in the field. 07 are just playing king of the hill right now. There's still that corner trying to get through it, but it looks like he does not get up to the lift. Effect get eliminated after falling off the map, but regardless, you have nowhere to run.
Look, I don't want to say I was right, but it kind of looks like I was right. Literally every single team on that side, actually, except for 2R1C, because a tiny amount of the far side actually remains in the circle. So 2 rats, 1 controller. Well, they're down to 1 rat.
I mean, calling in the exterminator may have to come into play here. With 07's game plan having Natsuki being on this caustic, it'd be a shame if there's a crypto left in this lobby to just delete everything that they've worked out for. But luckily for them, there is no more crypto. It's only Uchaku who has that one last rat. Haruka had gone down, so they can just sit pretty in here. Well, E6 also on the other side. Slab being able to pop that shield bat right now.
Oh, man. What's the next move for Chaco? It's probably not going to come to much, really. I mean, August done. They've got the scan. I think that was an evac maybe we just saw, or there we go. Wow, gets snapped down to the sky without a second thought. August and Hungary, they've got control over this zip line right here. So they've got 4 squads left. You've got a duo of Element 6, and then 07, Infinite, and August all with the full 3 members.
It's crazy to see how frag-heavy August and Hungary still are moving on. Trying to break records out here. They have 11 KP share between the whole team right now. Calling in the creeping garage. How's 07 going to try to approach Orcus and Hungary as they try to fight for the high ground here? Circle closing in now. The calm before the storm, and the Nox grenade is ready from Natsuki.
This shot's great because it shows us how the height is playing out between these teams, because that will be one of the crucial factors. Who gets forced out first? Will you be forced off height, or will 07 be forced out of that building? Nice thermite!
Wow. Oh, it was huge right there. Does it matter if the Watch and Gen eats that up? E6 get eliminated. Our final 3 squads left right now in the lobby. Infinite, 07, Orgless, and Hungry. And Orgless and Hungry are looking to take 3 back-to-back wins, playing off the low ground here.
Oh my god, bonus point actually within reach now for Orgless and Hungry. Bang, ult comes down. Evac tower even, I think that one's from 07, trying to give themselves some options. As they have to finally leave their cover. Orgless and Hungry looking down upon them. Infinite might be able to play the hype from longer. How it's going to shake out, Vicky?
Oh, it looked like he tried to toss a Nox grenade up onto the high ground. Not just sort of cut the Gen, eating that, takes the evac tower, taking the circle damage. Infinite drops down. This is all Infinite. They have it in the game. Can they clutch? I don't think you can. 07. Stay alive in the final circle. Even playing off the low ground. Taking care of Orgless and Hungry, stopping their reign. And taking game number 5.
07 come out on top there. Epic clutch. I mean, I would have loved to see Naska's reaction from that. You know, definitely one of the more animated players in our league. And yeah, look, it looks like they got shut off first. Very hard for them to take that one out. You know, Infinite, who were up the top, I thought they probably, you know, had the best spot there. But no, the clutch factor lies with 07.
They got deleted the moment that they dropped down from the high ground. Linked and 2 of the players were already knocked, only leaving the Bangalore. And throughout the chaos of the smoke mage, you already saw the Nox gas, you saw the barrel set up. Where do you look while you're getting not only hit damage from the ring, but also hit damage from the Nox gas? So that was a lot to deal with in 07. The patience wears off. You saw them clean up a duo right before they had made that rotate with the evac, and they found themselves in the best spot that you had mentioned, Gino, was for them to hold.
And yeah, the good point about the caustic as well there, though, Vicky, is in those final circles, they are the one you're kind of relying on, right? Everyone else probably going to be eating that gas damage. They're going to be stunned, not necessarily have good vision through the Nox gas. Your caustic is fully free and ready to, you know, do damage and deal with the other caustic. So really, if you can keep that player up and alive longer, there's probably a much better chance that you're going to take out the win in those clustered spots.
And 07 needed that too. The one that came, they were sitting to the left, so now setting themselves up for a higher success rate as they what they had finished off with their KP. But regardless, we got to see Orgless and Hungry how much KP they had. Kinda was going crazy on the Bloodhound, so they still were able to finish in top 3 with a double-digit KP total.
Yeah, that's a big result there from them. I think Hungry. We also saw that they took out quite a few kills there. Obviously, a decent placement, maybe not winning, maybe not getting the bonus point, but they still did extend their lead on the lobby.
Taking a look at the overall standing after the end of game number 5, 07 finished up with 10 KP. Infinite coming in with 6 KP, waiting in second place. They were holding on to the high ground for quite some time, denying themselves some evil shield charge, but it still worked out for them in the end, getting second place. With Orgless and Hungry getting focus fired by both 07 and Infinite, they still finished their run off with 12 KP. Still a game to go for both of these teams here, though, as you take a look all the way at the very bottom. Alliance getting 4 KP, but let's be honest, there was absolute chaos at the very end for that final circle pool. There was a lot of teams that had nowhere to go when it came to crossing through that bridge.
Yeah, priority for that zone is just so important. They land at Stormcatcher, so I think it makes sense that, you know, they got that read and went up there. I wonder if Alliance maybe didn't get a ring console, because obviously if they had have and had have called that zone correctly, it should have been them, really, in that spot rather than Infinite.
Had maybe rotated to go to an Evo Harvester, and that also shows you, you know, when you make that rotate out without having that information, how crucial it can be for circles like this. Taking a look at the kill leaderboard, Orgless and Hungry still stay on top. All 3 members in the top 5 still, while Tyler secures himself 20 total kills for the day after these last 5 games, while Kinda comes in second place with 18. I do know that Kinda is leading the way with the amount of damage done, though, so Orgless is doing a really good job at following up with one another, while Alliance sitting in third and fourth between Effect and Unlucky. This has been just a phenomenal addition here for the rest of his team.
He has, and he's taken a lot of the pressure off Effect as well. You know, the Wunderkind who had some of the most incredible land performances we'd seen on the hardest stages. You know, maybe until they get to the finals, but here he is, Unlucky, able to just, you know, make it so that we're not just relying on the one fragger for that team. Of course, you know, Hucker's always pitching in there as well. I know we saw some of those, the history of ALGS like kill leaderboards overall released by Chrono recently, and Huckers is definitely up the top of that.
Amazing IG out here while we take a look at the overall standings after the last 5 games. Orgus and Hungary staying on top with 88 total points. What a window between themselves and Arctis in second with 51. Looking all the way down though, you can see that gap start being built up even between Passion looking all the way down, because Passion being one of those placement teams that we've been seeing thus far, trying to clean up some crumbs that were left behind by Orgless, all the way down to even Full English, who are trying to play for positioning, Team Portugal that try to predict these circles, unable to find that spot in that last circle that we just saw. And in the second page, E6 still settled in 11th.
Okay, so August and Hungary are, what is that, 37 points ahead of Alliance right now. So, again, bonus points on the table here. They got close to getting one. There's 2 different ways you can do it, right? 50 points ahead of second place. The other one is winning 3 maps. So, they're actually both within reach now from August and Hungary. What, like, it